Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of WorkYogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. It's been a while since I created or produced an episode in this series. And part of the reason is, life got busy. And I'm happy to uh, have a conversation with Vidya Iyer. She's my sister, and I'm very proud of that. She is the founder, CEO of Unbound Solutions, and she has been on a mission to empower women through her services. And one of the services that she provides is in the area of Agile Scrum Master. She empowers, trains people to be Agile Scrum Masters. So we get behind the scenes on how it all started, and hopefully you find this episode useful. Please do leave your comments, and remember to subscribe to this channel if you think the content that's here is of value to you, and do remember to share it with others. Let's dig in. Hi Vidya, welcome to WorkYogi Diaries.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. It's been a while since I've always wanted to have a conversation with you with the work you do. Um, and I know for over many years now, you've been uh, at this. You started this company called Unbound Solutions and been up to some amazing stuff. So we're going to get into all of that. But
Okay,
maybe I'll let you do a quick introduction yourself, and then we'll kind of jump in.
sure. So, so I'm the founder and CEO of Unbound Solutions, and we started this company to because we have a real commitment for people to go beyond their self-limiting beliefs and achieve things that they've never imagined possible. So that's a
Mhm.
passion, and that's why we started this company.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Great. So maybe we should, and you're based out of Atlanta, right?
that's correct. That's
Just as a
correct.
matter of
Yeah, yeah.
information. So just to kind of maybe rewind a bit and get to a bit of a flashback in
Mhm.
terms of how did you arrive at even starting a company?
Yeah,
It's not every day somebody starts a company. So let's hear your story. How did it all? Where did it all start?
sure. So I have a background in in leadership and coaching. For the past 15 years, I have 15 plus years. I have worked in that arena,
Hmm.
and and then over the years, I have noticed that one of the needs in the market, like especially in the area of women in technology. I
Mhm.
have noticed there's this huge population of very talented women, who for for whatever reason, it could be family, it could be
Mhm.
maybe visa issues, have had to take a sabbatical from work.
Mhm.
And so when they're ready to come back to work, one of the challenges within the staffing industry is that somehow the gap in the resume is questioned or
Mhm.
not accepted. So we thought, hey, and then of course, they don't get calls, and that has an impact in their confidence,
Mhm.
and they're begin to think, okay, maybe we should just give it up, you know
Right.
while they have so much to contribute. So
Mhm.
we thought,
Mhm.
hey, how about taking this group of people, like really empowering them and supporting them into transitioning back to work.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yep.
we started this program. It's called Scrum Whisperer program. Now the other part of what you should what you know about me
Mhm.
is that we're very passionate about agile. So in my whole
Mhm.
journey of in the area of leadership, I came across agile,
Mhm.
and very inspired by the whole agile methodology. So
Mhm.
that's the other part. So it's like marrying both our passions, if you would if you will, right? So we
Mhm.
came up with this program called Scrum Whisperer program.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so we started our first batch in 2020 right after the pandemic,
Mhm.
right during the pandemic, beginning of the pandemic. We
Mhm.
said, hey, let's do this. So we started with a group of women, and yeah, and then right now we have trained. We currently we are running a seventh batch, and so since then we have trained at least 30 women, and 85% of them have been placed. They've gone back to
Mhm.
work,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
not just that, they've just gone back to work. They are thriving.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and we've getting feedback from our end clients saying, like, this is amazing. They
Right.
didn't
Right.
expect it because they've come with like 6-7 years of gap,
Mhm.
you know and they're amazed,
Mhm.
at the
Mhm.
level of commitment that they bring, the dedication and the performance.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's our program.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I guess on one hand, I get so that's great, right? Because you saw that there is on the supply side, you saw there are people, especially women who've taken a break and who have certain skills, but they probably are rusted, and maybe that's why they're not getting the calls. But on the demand side, right? How did you kind of bridge this gap? Because
Yeah.
how did you decide that agile was something that your customers needed?
Yeah. Well, we did. I mean, so one, the role that we train our
Mhm.
ladies in is Scrum Master.
Mhm.
So it's a leadership role, and so we train them in that. We train them to be leaders.
Mhm.
Okay, and specifically in the agile environment, so we train them in agile and what it is and how do you be a scrum master. Now
Mhm.
we actually also addressed another need in the market, which
Mhm.
is um, there is a lot. I mean, if you have read a little bit about agile,
Mhm.
it's not rocket science. It's very simple. However, the challenge that many people are facing in the market, many companies are facing, is now how do you be
Mhm.
agile? So it requires a certain kind of mindset.
Mhm.
So this, and it's not, it's like, I mean, it's not anybody's fault. It's just that and up until, like, um, 2010, I would say, it's like the way, products were developed
Mhm.
were from a different mindset. It was
Mhm.
from what they call waterfall
Mhm.
mindset. And so now this whole revolutionary concept came up,
Mhm.
of agile.
Mhm.
And and they have been successes,
Mhm.
with this, following this kind of framework.
Mhm.
And so everybody wants to implement agile, you
Mhm.
know however, one of the challenges is that it requires a shift in mindset from
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
projects were run in
Mhm.
waterfall
Mhm.
to the agile mindset.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we focused on, or we focus in our trainings, is how do you develop that kind of mindset.
Mhm.
Now that doesn't happen with just a 2-day certification or a 2-day training. You
Mhm.
be certified. um, Now I'm certified too,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
if you were going to ask me after I got certified, am I ready to be a scrum master? My honest answer would have been no.
Mhm.
you know so it's like, so there's a development of what that mindset is.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we took that on, and we
Mhm.
take that on in our trainings. So our trainings are not the typical 2-day trainings. We
Mhm.
actually do invest time,
Mhm.
close to 2 to 3 months. We
Mhm.
do we do work with our candidates in developing that mindset.
Mm.
So, and in mastering Scrum.
Mhm.
Now you could say that, I mean, there's never like a there's never an end to mastery. I mean, you would continue to master,
Mhm.
but we give them that foundation,
Mhm.
so in how to be a great Scrum Master. So our
Mhm.
focus is about being a great Scrum Master.
Mhm. Sounds interesting. So I think what I'm hearing, Vidya, is I think the fundamental need. So of course, I get that you saw an opportunity to solve one problem, which is on the supply side. That's people who are on a break, getting them back on at work. But I think on the demand side, what I'm hearing is the problem that you are solving is not just making scrum masters available, but there is an element of agile that is not being addressed, which is about mindset. So let's talk about that mindset a little bit, right? So what exactly are you talking about when you're talking about an agile mindset, and why is it that it's hard to get it without the training that you provide?
That's a good question, right? I mean, what constitutes a mindset? It's
Mhm.
like it's you could say it's an attitude. It
Mhm.
constitutes
Mhm.
what's how you approach
Mhm.
issues. um so that's what we're talking about. it's
Mhm.
it's like the background,
Mhm.
from where you start to think, or a
Mhm.
place to think from, a
Mhm. Mhm.
place to stand where you can start to address the
Mhm.
issues.
So can you give an example so that the listeners who
Yeah,
are who
sure,
yeah, if you can give an
sure.
example,
Yeah,
and also in the context of agile, right?
yeah,
We're talking about this specifically around an agile mindset,
sure,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so traditionally, how
Mhm.
projects are run, so there's a role, of a project manager,
Mhm.
in traditional project management. The leadership style,
Mhm.
is derived. It's derived from the military.
Mhm.
Okay, years and years ago,
Mhm.
so you develop a kind of, and that kind of applied, or it
Mhm.
made sense because there was a time where um, it was all about mass production.
Mhm.
So if you might have heard of Ford's saying, I mean, we will produce any car as long as it's black. So that
Mhm.
was an era of mass production.
Mhm.
Okay, so all what was needed in the terms of leadership was the leader. There were just few parameters for the product to be developed. It was in an assembly line, and then
Mhm.
the team just had fixed parameters,
Mhm.
and they just
Mhm.
had to do it, and then keep
Yeah.
moving things through along the assembly line.
Mhm.
So the project manager or the leadership style was, I will tell you what to do and you just do it. And
Mhm.
the team would just do it. And then when you do it, and then, you keep producing.
Mhm.
Right. So now that worked in that era,
Mhm.
you know, it was successful in that era. But
Mhm.
here we are,
Mhm.
years ago now, the market has completely changed.
Mhm.
Right. Now it's the era of innovation.
Mhm.
Now, if companies don't produce innovative products,
Mhm.
they're going to perish.
Right.
So there's this a different. Now how do you, now then the question was, now how do you create innovative products,
Mhm.
right? So now that requires a certain kind of thinking.
Mhm.
It requires being able to think outside the box, if you will.
Mhm.
Okay. So um so in that so in this so what that will also require is that the team, now
Mhm.
where are these ideas generated?
Mhm.
It's with the team.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
happens at the team level.
Mhm.
So you we want now the people who are part of the team, who are the development
Mhm.
team, to
Mhm.
be able to think for themselves, to
Mhm.
be able to think beyond what they have seen.
Mm.
right? Now if we want to have our team or our development team to start thinking that way, then it's
Mm.
going to require a different kind of leadership. Now,
Yeah.
telling them
Correct.
what to do is not, it's going to
Mm.
suppress them.
Mm.
It's not going to, you're not going to have an environment of innovation.
Mm.
So this is leadership style, or
Mhm.
it's a leadership style where you're
Mhm.
able to foster an environment
Mm.
where people are able to take ownership. Now it's no longer about the leader being the center, center of attention, if you will.
Mm.
It's like now the leader is in the background,
Mm.
allowing others to be leaders. So now
Mm.
that's a different style of leadership. Now we call
Mm.
that servant leadership. So
Mm.
you're in service of the team.
Mm.
So they can go beyond. I mean, so there is this safe environment.
Mm.
It is creating this psychological safety. So they can now say, hey, now how do you solve this issue?
Mm.
Right? See, the market is uncertain.
Mm.
It's also volatile,
Mhm.
right? And then so now, and we need to create innovative solutions with, on the
Mhm.
face of that. So
Yeah.
that's the mindset that I'm talking about. So now
Mm.
it's a shift. So for a leader, from telling them what to do
Mm.
to being in the back in the background and
Mm.
allowing the team to take ownership, it's a
Mm.
whole different mindset. It's a whole different, I'm going to
Got it.
say, mindset. So that's
Got it.
what I'm talking about.
Got it.
It's
And no, no, that's very clear, and that's very powerful. So in your training to be a agile or a scrum master, one what I'm hearing is one aspect or one key aspect of training is the mindset.
Yeah.
And so what according to you is the biggest obstacle in developing this mindset? Because obviously uh, this is not natural for everybody, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
For most people, uh, the tendency is to try and control the situation
Yeah.
or try and tell people what to do.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that? What in your experience, maybe like what are the top key obstacles for people to develop this mindset?
Yeah. So one is to be able to see that, to be able to see,
Hmm.
one, to be committed
Hmm.
to, seeing it when it comes, because it's
Hmm.
not going away. A
Hmm.
lot of
Hmm.
experts, agile, in the agile world, will tell you that, that they're a recovering project manager, which means that
Hmm.
almost every day they have to catch themselves, having those behaviors, you know
Hmm.
of that control, or like that. So it's like recognizing that, so having that ability to recognize it,
Hmm.
and then putting it aside, and then standing in the agile manifesto
Hmm.
and the scrum values and the principles, the agile principles, and then addressing issues from there, or and,
Hmm.
and then being with the team from that, from that space.
Hmm.
So I guess that is challenging, to be able to do that on an everyday basis.
Hmm.
It takes discipline. It's going to take
Hmm.
discipline.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we provide that opportunity for our candidates, because
Hmm.
they are with us for at least 2 to 3 months, and
Hmm.
sometimes
Hmm.
a little bit more. So we
Hmm.
include, we do our trainings in sprints,
Hmm.
so they have that practice, they practice scrum, we
Hmm.
do, they have an opportunity to be scrum masters and be and being observed by an agile coach, like an expert, and giving
Hmm.
them feedback, you know
Got it.
so we do that for at least 2 to 3 months. So then they have had the experience of, catching that, catching that, quote unquote, the project manager showing up, if you
Hmm.
will,
Hmm. Hmm.
that
Yeah.
command and control behavior,
Right.
and then switch. So when
Yeah.
you do that, it's practice. So
Yeah.
then you keep doing that over time, then you learn it. You
Yeah.
learn a
Yeah.
new behavior.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So now coming to people who you pick or select to do these programs, right? Do you like look for a certain set of qualities before
Yeah,
you train them?
we do.
What qualities? Okay, what qualities do you look
See,
for?
one, we do look for somebody who loves to work with people, because it's such a
Hmm.
people oriented role.
Hmm.
That needs to be there,
Hmm.
right? Because that's what it is. It's about
Hmm.
people.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we look for that,
Hmm.
and we look for the ability to communicate.
Hmm.
uh, yeah, and as much as they need to love people, they also need to be someone you know who has good communication skills,
Hmm. Hmm.
like, because you've got to address certain, while having that agile mindset,
Hmm.
address certain, when there are issues, be able to address
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
not just that, the scrum master is like a champion for their team, so
Hmm.
sometimes they have to step up and speak up for their team.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that ability to, you know to stand for their team,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
so we look for that.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And we look for some considerable amount. I mean, we also look for people who have worked, you know in
Hmm.
uh, in IT before. They've had that experience on how projects are run, so that makes it
Hmm.
easier for them to step into this role.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So I guess got it. Got it. So minimum qualification could be someone who's a project manager, has been a project manager,
Yeah,
and yeah,
project manager, or they could even have been a developer,
yeah.
or they could have been a business analyst,
Okay.
even a QA. I mean,
Mm.
basically they're exposed to how software projects are run.
Okay.
So we look for, at least, and sometimes within 6 7 years of working, they also tend to get into leadership roles. They
Mm.
become a module lead, or they,
Mm.
like they've become a project manager. So then they have some exposure in being in leading people.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
we do look for them as well.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, you also talked about specifically serving the women community. Do you
Yeah.
find that women are more easily trainable, coachable for being an agile scrum master, or
No,
is
that's.
there a
I don't
particular?
think that's. I don't think that's.
That's not. That's
That's
not true.
not. That's not true.
Yeah.
I don't think gender plays a role. I think
Mm.
anybody can be a leader. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I mean, why we chose the women community is just I have a commitment to serve that
Yeah.
community. That's it.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Terrific. Now, in terms of challenges of placement, right now
Yeah.
you've trained people. You know there is this gap in the industry.
Hmm.
Uh, what challenges do you face in uh, getting people to trust your process
Yeah.
and hire your people?
Yeah. I mean, it's a process.
Mm,
But one, we are very very fortunate, I would say. We
mm,
have partners, we have staffing partners who have the same commitment. They have a
mm,
commitment to empower women,
mm,
you know
mm,
and so they're connected to what why we are doing what we are doing. So
mm,
they have bought into that,
mm,
what we are up to here, having
mm,
more and more people, more and more women,
mm,
and supporting more and more women to come back to work, and having more presence of women
mm,
in IT, you
mm,
know. So they are our partners,
mm, mm.
you know,
Got it. Got it.
and then they have taken a chance with us.
Mm,
So
mm,
we are very very fortunate to have them, and it has worked well so
Mm,
far.
mhm, mhm.
Our candidates have performed really well, and they're doing well.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Makes sense. So, looking forward, right? Where do you see your journey for your company? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah, like I said, we have now trained 30 people since we
Hmm.
started this. Our commitment in the next year would be to scale it up to 100,
Hmm.
you know, and add more partners to
Hmm.
the game,
Hmm.
because this whole process, it has taken a village,
Hmm.
you know. So yeah, that's what we are. And as we go, we are fine tuning our
Hmm.
process, and we are making sure that all the needs are met,
Hmm.
the clients needs are met as well, for
Hmm.
what they're
Hmm.
looking for. We include that in our training.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, is there anything specific you see as an emerging uh, trend in Agile itself? I guess
Mhm.
Agile, as a process, is also evolving. So, one is,
Yeah.
of course, mindset that we talked about. Is there anything else that you're working on that you plan to include?
What we I mean we are constantly in communication with our clients, right,
Mm,
and looking at what are they looking for, in
mm,
a candidate. And so that's how we are putting our training together, and then
got
this
it.
is the feedback that we've gotten. Actually,
Yeah.
everything that I just said is from the feedback that we've gotten from our clients, because they are looking for people who can actually be leaders,
Mhm, mhm.
and we have that knowledge, the scrum knowledge, being
Yeah.
able to like have a strong foundation in that. So we have made sure that that's in,
Mhm,
with our candidates. And yeah, I mean, it's a process. It's
mhm.
like we keep in touch with them, we find out what else is needed,
Mhm.
and then we keep including that. Yeah.
Cool. I think we kind of covered a fair bit of ground in terms of what you do, how you kind of came about it. We
Hmm.
kind of covered the challenges in getting somebody to be trained as agile.
Yeah.
We also kind of spoke about the challenges in placement and
Hmm.
how you've kind of cracked that code. Um, so, is there anything else that you want to uh, leave our audience with a message?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that I want to leave, people out there who may be in a similar boat, that it is possible for you for it's possible for you to have a thriving career,
Hmm.
along with you know everything else,
Yeah.
great family, everything else, whatever
Hmm.
else that they're committed to, that it's possible. You don't
Hmm.
have to make a compromise, you can
Hmm.
have it all. That's what I want to leave the audience with.
Terrific.
Yeah.
That's Vidya. Thanks. That was very valuable. I think I do hope that people who are listening to this have a sense of the opportunity in agile,
Yeah.
and what does it take to be agile, and how your company and your services can get them there. And whatever
Yeah.
you're doing is really laudable, because you are making a difference to specifically to women who are on a break and want to get back to career. So it's not just business for profits, but it's also business with a mission and a purpose, which also surpasses the need for just pure money, right? Of
Hmm.
course, business is about money, but
Yeah.
when it's backed by this passion and mission, then it makes it even more exciting.
Yeah.
Um, I I think I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and uh, we'll stay in touch. Of course, I'm your
Sure.
brother. Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And thanks once again for
Thank you.
inviting me here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.